Thank you all very much. Thank you, Lindsay, for that wonderful introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here, as always, at Wide. Margaret and I, something of a Leeds mafia, will lead the session today, but we do want to stress how collaborative this has been with Chie, Adachi, and with Sumudu, who has joined us as an early hour in Ottawa, without any tariffs, just okay. We are going to discuss, so this is the title, is literal in our understanding of cultural and social dimensions in digital education. As I said, this is our research team. I'm going to kick things off. I'm going to hand over to Sumudu, who's going to introduce a little bit of sort of literature, establish this, and then we are going to get discussing. Okay. So where we started from was the GISC report in 2023 around the 6 pillars beyond the blended. What we wanted to establish from this was how we understood the social and cultural norms that come with our understanding of digital education. We recognize some of the technology drivers, we recognize some of the cost drivers, we recognize some of the other dynamics that encourage us to look to digital education. But we were really keen to emphasize social and cultural dimensions because we consider these to have been overlooked essentially within the just dynamics of what it set out to do. And much about the individuals involved, the people in the digital education space. And that's us, just to be clear, all of us, and many beyond this room, not just in the digital sphere today, but all of the interactions, the networks that we're part of. So we wanted to establish how these influence and shape our understanding and our participation in digital education, both as designers, which is in some senses the majority of folks in this room, whether that's in our title or otherwise, and equally those who we interact with, learners of many descriptions. We also wanted to be conscious of the social and cultural norms, institutions, of the institutions which we work in higher education. There are protocols, borrowed from my diplomatic studies, that are established, often well established, within higher education. At least in one argument, we've been doing higher education the same for what, 800 years? So someone at the front talking to an audience who are keenly attentive and ready. Okay? The coffee, still the University of London standard, so check. So the image that or AI, as many of you recognize, helpfully created for me to demonstrate this, is a very busy one. Has a number of different nodes within it, a number of different representations, but the key thing I wanted to get across and defer to its capabilities and frailties was the number of people involved in the process. Many of whom are looking at screens, some of them bigger ones, some of them smaller ones. There's an element of interaction and dynamism within that to some extent. And then there is an idea, a bubble, a light bulb. And whether that's permanently flicked on or turned on at this particular juncture, leave to others. But what we wanted to engage with was the social dynamics. So get ready to get social. Move on, and I'm going to hand over to Sumudu. Next slide, please, guys. Next slide. Next. So our social engagement being demonstrated. Thank you very much. Sumudu, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, Simon? No. Right. Let me see. Okay. No. Can you see me? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Good morning, everyone. I'll be discussing the literature review under the themes of curriculum design, digital transformation, and cultural inclusion. Chose these themes because they address the topic holistically. It relates to the relationship among relevant stakeholders, learners, designers of curricula, and policymakers. Let's begin with curriculum design. So post-pandemic, it was realized that blended learning is more than just a backup. Meta-analysis conducted in 2023 demonstrated that blended learning outperformed fully online learning in student engagement, motivation, and satisfaction. Central to this, the Beyond Blended framework recognizes how curricula needs to be adapted to the synchronous and asynchronous modes. The guiding principles are examined through a curriculum and strategic lens for personal student experience. In designing the curricula, the Beyond Blended report notes that curricula, whatever format is used, needs to focus on student engagement. It is the ability to successfully navigate varying factors, such as desirability of verbal cues, that will determine the success of a curriculum. Hill and Smith note that the widespread adoption of the blended learning requires institutional approaches to structure with an underlying vision. If blended learning should not be marginalized. So let's move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. Moving on to the driving digital transformation. It's not merely about switching from textbooks to tablets. True transformation concerns reimagining education through leadership and role evolution. So changing the way educators are traditionally perceived. A 2023 systemic review by Chie and others stressed that success is dependent on executive leadership beyond just automating old processes. A systemic review of Education 4.0 in 2023 focused on the educator's role. They are now just not merely delivering materials. Educators are designers and facilitators. For example, they create interactive stimulations for collaborative problem solving. This is different from traditional instruction. Transformation requires the alignment in strategy and structure and stakeholder feedback. Can we move to slide 3, please? Thank you. Finally, we're concerned with cultural inclusion. This relates to the digital divide, and it's not just about access to technology. The technology use is shaped by cultural norms. According to a study in 2024, 3 levels of analysis are necessary to understand the digital divide. Access, which deals with the way that you have access to reliable technology and the internet. Usage, which concerns the way that technology is used. And the final level of analysis are the consequences of digital resources and how they are used. The study demonstrated how the digital divide is affected by socioeconomic and cultural values to improve digital inclusion and technology adoption across a diverse student body in the United Kingdom. What the literature review in summary emphasizes is that student engagement is priority, and technology is a bridge, not just a tool. Cultural and social norms affect the way technology is used, and hence the effectiveness of digital resources in the curriculum. I refer back to Simon and the rest of the fellows to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumudu, so much, and thank you for getting up so early and onto us to join us. It's very much appreciated, and it's testament to how valuable you've been to the project as a co-student fellow. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Excellent. And for future reference, these will be available on the next one. Okay, so now we're going to get into our group discussion. One more with you. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so we have set up a proprietary VBox as part of this. We would like you on your tables that you're sat at, if you're sat on your own, Alberto, perhaps you'd like to just join another table, to engage in this discussion. What do cultural and social dimensions of digital education look like for you and your institution? We're not going to say anything more at this stage. Over to you. Okay? Find a friend, be social. Okay. Reluctant as I am to interrupt any conversation, I am. I just want to give a couple of thoughts to perhaps hone your thinking, the discussions around your table, and as you might, and we will be very grateful, I should add, if you could pop something into the platform, VBox platform. I'm sure, but I wouldn't want to be too presumptuous, that there's been some discussion about what constitutes cultural and what constitutes social, and perhaps some distance or indeed differentiation perhaps between yourself as an individual, perhaps the little social gathering that you found yourself in around the table today, and the institution that you may represent, possibly to an arm's length. And those are perhaps things that I'd like to just encourage you to contemplate in your remarks. So how we collectively, individually perceive culture and social dynamics, and then how we perceive the different level our individual and those of our institutions within this possible social construct of higher education. A couple more minutes, if we may, and we'll draw that together. Thank you so much.
Okay, so hello. If we could please come back together. If you capture please your final comments in the VBox, that would be wonderful, and just wrap up the table discussions. We'll just come right back together. So thank you for engaging in that way. Appreciate the contributions here. What I just wanted to make sure was clear in this context is this is a code supported research. We are right in the midst of it, and this opportunity to engage with you can help and shape this. So we're trying to apply what we're talking about as well in engaging in a social way and gathering your thoughts on what is the cultural context. It's interesting if we look at the responses, which should be visible to you as well. There's a lot of focus on the students. So the student experience, which is right, which is good. There's no right or wrong answer in this capacity. But what's also interesting is that dynamic of where does the institution play a role? Where do you personally play a role? And where is that continuum? Is it a continuum? Is it fractured? Is it disconnected or connected? And so there's some interesting ideas that are coming in here. So do please share into this. What I also wanted to share is that this, we will be, as you've seen, we've done the literature review. Sumudu has done the literature review, and we are now just about to go live with our questionnaire. So as part of the code community itself, this will be the link to the questionnaire will go out. We will probably take a look at what that questionnaire looks like so that it is informed by what some of the feedback that we've gotten today through this conversation and discussion. So that will be going out, and then more generally, the overarching results will be coming through, again, through the code network as part of that social contribution in that space. So is there anyone, though, that online or in the room here who has some, so we're not going to go around to the table specifically, but is there anyone who would like to kind of call out something that maybe surprised you or was something that you really feel like you would like to share back to the community here from your discussions? No one? Okay, if you put it in the VBox, that's absolutely fine. But again, I think what we're seeing here is a diversity. Do we even have shared language?
In a moment. But before I do, students learning on these programs.
All good. All the virtual rooms are convening and being social. So what we're seeing here too is this, the dynamic of, do we have shared language? Do we even understand what we're, or do we, are we able to articulate what do we mean by social dimension? What do we mean by a cultural dimension? It's so complex, right? There's a complexity inherent and intentional in the framing of the question. Yes, Linda.
Thanks, Lindsay. One of the things we talked about on this table, and I was very privileged to have some really interesting conversations here, was just about also who the stakeholder is that we're talking about. So us personally, us as people with responsibility for our programs or our areas, us as senior leaders, us as representatives of our university or of a digital company, etc. So there was that added to the questions as well, I think, of what we mean by cultural and social dimension. And we had a great conversation about guitars.
Well,
And,
of course.
and how that affects the way that you look at life, because your own expertise as a musician or as a whatever really changes the way you kind of view the world. And stepping out of that to try and think about how other people view the world is quite important.
Thank you so much. That's a great, I love that comparison also to the creative arts and how do we look at how we engage, right?
Can we see some of the VVOCs for the people online or maybe not? I think people online can see it on the VVOCs link.
Yeah, so I've enabled, you should be able to see the results on your own space.
Okay,
I don't think
brilliant.
at the moment we can display that. Apologies.
Okay.
We can put in a screenshot afterwards. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead. There's one more question. We have time for one or two questions more. Or comments.
Hi, yeah, we talked about the kind of understanding of the student on this table as well. And I think perhaps what's interesting and perhaps harder to achieve in online or in distance is peer-to-peer teaching, because by peer-to-peer teaching, you're bringing in a different culture and a different social kind of framework than kind of at the prism of a singular lecture or a singular point of transmission. So if you can provide variety of teaching through peer-to-peer, then perhaps there's you are automatically bringing in a breadth of cultures.
No, lovely. Thank you so much. Exactly. So we've got this full range of institutional culture, your own personal culture or heritage, the engagement and culture of local teams, but also how we're designing for that student experience. Where does that have a play? Where does that social element come in, or cultural context? That's absolutely, I mean, it's clearly coming in through the comments that are now here through your table discussions. So I think that's about it. So we thank you for engaging socially in this environment and to contribute to this study as well. This space is not over at all, so we will be, as I said, sharing the link to the more formal questionnaire as part of our research and data collection, and then following on with the write-up of this research. So thanks to Code as well for this pulling this together, and thanks to the colleagues on this project. It's been really fun so far because we are exploring these questions together as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Round of applause.